Hello. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is my second video, and it's been a few weeks since my first one, and it's just because I have been so heavily studying and preparing for a Swedish exam that I actually took yesterday, because the way that classes work here are not how they work back in America, at least to my experience. And it's been rough. I've been studying, and like when you're studying, sometimes you're just like, oh, I got this is fine. And then like other time you're studying, you're just like, ugh, what is Swedish? But yeah, so I took the Swedish exam. Now I don't know Swedish. I don't know her. I've never heard of her. I don't know what that is. So this week, I think what I'm gonna start doing is just having these kind of like sit down moments where I can just sit down and recap kind of what happened this week, or the week that I post the video. Almost like a story time every week, just kind of like small little updates. And so hopefully that's how it goes. So this week I had our finals here, because how the school system works here is you have quarters instead of like semesters, and so it's still technically like a semester system. They just divide classes like into quarters instead. Technically the end of next week is the end of the third quarter, and so this quarter I only took my two Swedish courses, the Swedish 1 and 2, and then I'm in a professional writing class. The professional writing class actually lasts all the way till May, so they do have semester classes, so I only had to take one test, and it was for Swedish 2. Because Swedish 1 was only 2 weeks long at the very beginning of the semester. And let me just say that both tests wrecked me. The test yesterday was pretty hard, especially for someone who's never learned another language or anything like that. I studied as best as I could, and I did the best that I could, so I don't think that I could be mad, but boy, boy, that test. Yeah, they don't joke around here. Yeah, because like for the test here, it's like kind of scary. It kind of takes me back to the old ACT and like standardized test days, because like they bring you in and they have like test proctors, and you sit down and you have to sit like two apart. That way you can't cheat, and it's strict. Like you go in, you have to fill out these forms, and whenever you get your test, you sit down, they start it like exactly on the dot whenever it's supposed to start, and then you go and you have, I had 2 hours to finish it, and it's stressful because I have really high test anxiety. You have to like sign in and sign out if you want to go use the restroom, which I really had to because I chugged a ton of coffee. It's really reminiscent of like ACT days, and it's just super scary. But yeah, so they corral you in, and you find your seat. And it's weird because like between Swedish 1 and Swedish 2, for Swedish 1, they brought all Swedish 1 students in. We were in this big underground room, and I mean like humongous, like tons of desks. And they had us sit at our own tables, and they passed out all the tests, and they're like, this is section 1, this is section 2, this is section 3. And it was kind of, again, like really intimidating because there were so many of us, and it was such a big deal for a final, which is not something that I'm used to at all. And then for this time, it was a little, I think, because there weren't as many students taking Swedish 2, but it was a little less stressful. But still, we went in and they had all these separate classrooms reserved for these tests. And you go in, and then they like explain the rules. And first of all, I wasn't late to the test, but I got to the school about 30 minutes before. I like grabbed all my study materials, because when you go in, you can't take your backpack to your desk. You have to like grab all your stuff and then go sit at your desk. Like you're only allowed to have like your pens or your pencils, a watch maybe if it's not like a smartwatch or anything, water or a drink, and maybe food. and then that's it, and then like your student IDs, because you leave the rest of your stuff out at the door. So whenever I got to the school, I was like, before I go in there and lose my backpack, I ran to the bathroom and for 30 minutes just like doing some last minute cramming before I went in there. And I walked in and there was like one classroom that was still open, so I went into that, and then there weren't any desks left, and so I was like, oh no. And so I stood there for a little bit and everyone else was like kind of staring at me. Eventually they got me like a desk and a spot. I sat down and started the test, and we're done dirty, because what they do is online, like for study materials, a lot of them give you like old exams and old finals to kind of base your knowledge off of. But you, from what I've learned, you really can't trust them, because these things, I think, or the old tests are maybe 5 years old or 6 years old, and so they've changed a lot. But you know, I like was studying for Swedish 1 and for Swedish 2. I studied the exam that was online, and it just, for Swedish 1, it smacked me in the face, because I got in there and I was like, this is nothing like the test that I studied. This is way more, and I was freaked out. And so I mean, I did okay on my first final. It was so hard, and then I guess it shouldn't be that hard. It's more like I'm incompetent, but it's whatever. So Swedish 2. I knew this time, I knew I was gonna go in there and it was gonna be so much harder than I think it's gonna be, because I practiced the old exam for Swedish 2 and it was good. I knew what I was doing, but I was still like, you know, I gotta know more, because you don't know what's gonna come. That's basically all I've been doing this week, was kind of, toe crap. Actually, Wednesday was kind of cool because there was a trip planned to go to Kiruna up here, and Kiruna is the place where the ice hotel is, like the original ice hotel, and so of course that's going to be a video in a few weeks. But yeah, the ice hotel was beautiful. They actually have one that's 365 24/7, because we only got to stay there for an hour, so I didn't make it to that one because I got distracted by some dogs. But the one that I did see was like the seasonal one that they all make, and it was beautiful. Highly recommend the ice hotel. And then we ate up there, and then we also went to go see the LKAB mine, so we got to go underground, and we kind of just got to be underground, which was pretty cool. And then they like walked us through the visitor facility and kind of taught us how they do all the mining and like how it works, and like kind of like the history of LKAB and just everything as they do. But that's gonna be its own video. So I did that basically all of Wednesday. That was 5 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. And so I came back and just studied. I studied until like 1, and then slept, and then woke up, and then went to take that test at 9. Pretty quiet week, but yeah, that test, that. But the video that I kind of like edited musically, which will like follow all of this, this video that I'm showing is about, so about 2 weeks after I got here in Sweden, we had decided, and I had decided even before that, you know, like you have to try Swedish meatballs, because that's like the food here that is like stereotypical, kind of like what's the food in Sweden? It's meatballs, and what they call it is köttbullar. Köttbullar, yeah, that's it. You eat it with gravy and like lingonberry sauce, and so we had ours with mashed potatoes, köttbullar, gravy, and it was just super cool, because like that night it was me, Mauricio, which is my next door neighbor, Luke, who lives down the hall, and all 3 of them are ISEP students like me. We had Ricky and Lenka, my homegirls, and then Paulina, who's also on this floor, and she's our native Swedish person that taught us all of this and has helped us through so much. So thank you, Paulina. We had Benjamin and then Vera. Yep, it was just the 8 of us. And we came here and we made the meatballs by hand. Like you had to, that's the only way you could do it. You have to make Swedish meatballs by hand. It was just really cool, because that happened while like 2 weeks in, like I said, and so everything was still really brand new, and so what brings people closer together and what makes people feel most at home, other than like a cool big family meal? And so that's kind of what it was that was almost like the start of the amazing friends that I've made here. Was like that really awesome first meal to just introduce me to my time here and kind of bring me in. And so, of course, I was still like new to vlogging then, and so I have a microphone on top of my camera, and I had forgot to turn it on, so the entire thing doesn't have any sound. So that's why it's just kind of like a little musical compilation as well. It was just awesome. It was an awesome night. The meatballs were fantastic. I know like people are like, oh my god, lingonberry and meatballs, that just sounds disgusting. And I'm like, no, it's really good. But also that's me, because I eat anything and everything. As people here found out, I will literally eat all your scraps. And that's really just, I mean, that's what this video was about, was just like an awesome first introductory meal here in Sweden. Let's see what I have. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, so this is going to maybe be more of the format, kind of like a recap of my week and a little video of one of the trips that I've done. And so thank you guys for watching, of course, again, and I will see you all soon. Bye.